Imagine you're alone. It's cold, dark, and wet. Off in the distance you hear a plane and a dog barking. Then there was a noise. Was that a scream? Or just a wild animal? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to talk about legends. Specifically, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster and the legend of Bigfoot. And how the legend of the Loch Ness Monster is much more believable than the legend of Bigfoot. And I can think of no better place to start than at the beginning. I'll start to tell you about the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, or Old Ness as the locals call her. Much like any legend, the first time you hear it, you need to be thinking about believability of the story, credibility of the storyteller. You may be interested in some of the history of the story as well. Well, this one starts a long time ago and it's very notable. The first recording sighting of the Loch Ness Monster has some serious credibility to go with it. The guy that recorded it went by the name of Saint Columba. He first saw the Loch Ness Monster in 556 AD. Saint Columba was not a man of fear, he was a man of God. So, during old Nessie's midday snack of a local fisherman, Saint Columba comes along and pulls out his staff and holds it up to the beast and says, "Doubt shall bother this man no more." Get back in the ocean, or the Ness, and leave this guy alone. He cast him off into the deep. But he is the exception rather than the rule. Most consider Old Ness to be a fierce killing machine. So much so, the stories have long been told to the children of the town surrounding the loch to keep them from playing in the cold, dark waters. And from 556 AD to 1930, there were so many stories that surrounded the loch that it's hard to keep them straight. But one thing is extremely true. With the advent of video cameras and electric production equipment, more and more people took to finding the beast. There have been more than 4,000 sightings of the creature since a surgeon vacationing in the 1930s captured a picture of old Nessie on video, or not on video, but on camera, on film. Technology advancements have even brought reports of sonar contacts as more people search for evidence of Old Ness. Legends, as I said before, are like any other story. The more they're told, the more they're unintentionally misrepresented. But one thing is clear. The credibility and notability of the legend of the Loch Ness Monster has been tried and true for many years. Now let's move on to a different type of legend, one that's just as old. Bigfoot has been sighted in 46 of 50 U.S. states. According to the Gulf Coast Bigfoot Region Organization. Now, just like the Loch Ness, when you think about the story of Bigfoot, you need to think believability and credibility of the storyteller. So let's see. There's an old wives' tale that many of us have heard about our not too distant cousin having long body hair, pointed teeth, and being extremely strong. However, I'd like to add that Bigfoot seems to be a magician. Seems to be a spellcaster of invisibility or blurriness when it comes to cameras. I found several hundred photos on the internet that claim to be proof positive of the existence of Bigfoot. But the more I looked, the worse the pictures got. Some were even obviously doctored. There's even a TV show that centers around the search for Bigfoot. But every bit of footage that I've seen, you could hardly tell whether it was a gorilla, an animal, a human, or whatever, because it was off in the distance and it was blurry, and often the animal was running away. A large number of organizations have been developed over the past 25 years with the goal of specifically providing proof of the existence of Bigfoot. One such organization is the North American Bigfoot Research Center. They've been collecting information of sightings in the U.S. and in Canada for more than 30 years. Another organization is the San Francisco Bigfoot Research Center. Also, they've been collecting information for more than 40 years with thousands of sightings in just the Bay Area. Now, With Bigfoot sightings in 46 of 50 U.S. states, researchers looking for 40 years, with thousands of stories and pictures, blurry videos of this amazing beast, I say to you, think believability. These stories may as well start with the phrase "once upon a time," due to the vast array of malarkey wrapped around them. That's where we look at each legend for its credibility. In the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, you have to ask yourself two things. Number one, how old would a beast like this be? And number two, is there more than one? Well, as luck would have it, there is more than one. Not only is there more than one, but it's in the most remote part of the Siberia, and that's where the Siberian Loch Ness Monster lives. Researchers using underwater scanners found evidence of Neskie with a K, measuring up to 33 feet in length on the 19th of September 2012. Can you say there's some credibility? I sure can. Now, as for credibility of the Bigfoot, or the legend of Bigfoot, it's hard for me to believe, I doubt it's hard for you to believe, that some of our brethren didn't develop as well as we did. And maybe they choose to live in the woods. The only real question I have about Bigfoot and the story of Bigfoot is, why is it that my 8-year-old son can take a great picture of me in the woods from 500 yards away, and all these researchers can't get just one photo? Just one. Just give me one. Whether these are credible legends or just plain wild tales or not remains to be seen. But remember, credible stories often have some mistruths, and there's always some truth in every lie. Today I've talked about the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, and how much more believable the Loch Ness Monster is over Bigfoot. Remember, legends are like any story. When you hear them, I hope you now think, is this story believable? Is this story credible? Once you've examined both sides, I think you'll find, just as I did, that the story of Old Ness, the Loch Ness Monster, is much more believable than the story of Bigfoot. And if nothing else, maybe we can send some of these researchers to how to use a camera class. Thanks.